What's up, everybody? I've got another book review for you guys today. This book is going to be it's actually a pretty good one. So I read Altered Carbon by Richard K. Morgan. It was written in 2002, and everyone probably knows it from the Netflix series. If you are at all interested, I recommend, and if you're going to read the book, read the book. The book is good. It's like a 4 out of 5. But most people are going to know it from the Netflix series, just Altered Carbon on Netflix. First season's really good. I have not seen the second season. I didn't hear a lot of good things about it. I don't know anything about season 2. But the first one is kind of a contained story. It's like 10 episodes long, really high production quality. Like, it's a great series. If you're into cyberpunk, if you like The Matrix, if you like, if you played Cyberpunk 2077, you're going to like it. This book was really, really good. It's not that long, like 380 pages. Sounds like a lot, but it's pretty, short chapters, 45 chapters or so, maybe like 41. 42 chapters and an epilogue. Fast moving, well written, really good world, really good character, and really interesting concepts. This is going to be mostly spoiler free. I'm not going to ruin anything about the book because it is a mystery novel, and I really like this book. This is the first book from this author. So Richard K. Morgan's like a 37-year-old man from England, wrote his first book, and he really hit it out of the park with this. It's just tight, well written, exciting, and it takes place like hundreds and hundreds of years in the future. Humans are in other planets. Our main character is named Takeshi Kovacs, and they call it Altered Carbon because the concept there is that the human soul is like put into these chips that go in the back of people's necks, and you can take that out. Like when people get arrested and they get thrown into jail or prison or whatever, they get sentenced. What they do is they take the chip out of your neck and they put it inside storage facility, and so you're on you're in storage for like 100 years or whatever, and so then you wake up and you get out and they assign you a new sleeve. So bodies in this, there's a whole theme of what is a human soul, and are you your memories, or are you the person? Are you the soul, or are you the body that you inhabit? And so right off the bat, that's just interesting. There's a lot of fun that you can have with books like this. Like there's lots of deception on, is the person I'm talking to, is it their, like who exactly am I talking to? Because you look like a certain way, but your soul, the person who's behind, the mind that is thinking within this body, is it the person who I think it is? And so that creates just in terms of like creative writing, there's so many cool places you can go with that, and this author takes it into some really interesting places. So like within the first 20, 30 pages, our character is in one world. He gets shot, and he gets put on the stack, and he wakes up back on Earth hundreds of years in the future. He's lived, I think, like 40 years. I think he's 40 years old in terms of like real time. So like a 40-year-old character, but he's lived through hundreds of years on different worlds. And our character is an envoy, which is kind of like a special operations, military trained person, kind of like special forces. I'm thinking like a Navy SEAL or something like that, but they call them envoys. And so he's got all this training, and has to get adjusted to a new body. He's not sure why he's got pulled out of the stack, and you're not sure what exactly he got put in for. And all this is a big mystery that kind of gets revealed as the book goes on. And he comes to find out that he was pulled for a specific reason. And there are like rich people in society back on Earth. It's kind of a dystopian future novel. So think Blade Runner, or it takes place farther than like Cyberpunk 2077. This is like hundreds of years. There's flying cars, there's advanced weapons, there's really advanced there's really advanced ways that people keep their like reserve bodies. Like if you're a rich person, you've got like 7 other bodies on stack that you can grow organs and put them into people, and in case you die for whatever reason, like I'll go one by one, but in case you die for whatever reason, you just get put into a new body. And so he gets pulled out by this guy called Lawrence Bancroft, who's this multi-billionaire person on Earth, and this guy brings Takeshi Kovacs into a new body and tells him, I want you to solve the mystery of my murder. And it's very mysterious because this character, this rich guy, they call him Meths, and that comes from Methuselah, who's a guy from the Bible who lived to be like 900 years old, because these rich people can change bodies and can like never actually die. And the way you actually kill someone in these books is take a gun and shoot them in their stack. And so that's why they call it altered carbon, because you're altering your carbon-based life form and you're just transferring it to different bodies. So that's kind of the setup. And the rich guy says to Takeshi Kovacs, our main character, I brought you out of here. I'm going to pay you a lot of money, solve the mystery of, for this 24-hour period, I don't know what I did, but someone killed my body, and I want to know who did it and why they did it. And that rich guy was, sent back to one of his backup stacks. And so there's like mystery of like what happened during this timeline. And so Kovacs wakes up trying to figure out, get himself oriented in this new body, get himself situated. He meets up with Lieutenant Ortega, who's this female police officer, really cool character. I liked her a lot. And she is the head of the organic damage department for the police force on Earth. And of course, in typical fashion, the police force is like this big corporate entity that, they're not official government. It's fractured off into different, it's very much like, I was thinking of like how South Africa is right now, where people hire their own personal security. And just the videos I'm seeing from you got to have bars on your window in South Africa, and you got to hire security, and it's just kind of like a lawless society. And we're seeing that now in 2021, but when this guy was writing this in 2002, which is when the book came out, it's interesting to see how in 19 years, I don't think we had any societies that were like that, but we're getting closer to, in 2021, societies that are kind of fractured. Wherever the money goes, those people have all the power. Politicians are doing whatever they want, and legality is just kind of pick and choose. There is no like, this is the law, you must follow the law. It's like, no, that's out of here. So like these rich guys, they can do whatever they want. They have like all these bodies. They have all these like this one guy has a wife that she's in a body, and they've both lived together for like they're like 350 years old of like real time being on planet Earth. Really interesting stuff. So it takes place in, they call it the Bay Area or Bay City, which I think is what they refer to as San Francisco, but it's like sprawled. It's the entire section of the Bay. So San Francisco, as if it was huge. Like it takes place for hundreds of miles more than what it would have been. So if you think of, I got one of these other books here I was going to talk about a little bit that I've already made a video on, Neuromancer by William Gibson. this book took place in what they called the sprawl, which was like Boston, Atlanta, like all of the East Coast turned into like one big city. And so you sort of have that with Altered Carbon. And this guy's got to get used to the new century's laws. He's got to figure out what's going on. Like they have one interesting thing is that if you're a Catholic, Catholics believe in the soul, and they believe that in this book, if you die, your soul should not be resurrected and put into a new body. That's not according to their religion. So that makes for really interesting, like how that plays out. Like, is it ethical to bring a person back? Let's say they were murdered, bring them back against their religious convictions and have them testify as to who murdered them. That's just an interesting concept to me, because things like this may happen. Like, it may be in the future that we upload our consciousness, our mind, to a computer, and then you can reboot that computer into, at this point we can like almost grow people's fingers back, organs back. Like we can like make, it's probably like 100 or 200 years from now, we would like grow a human embryo into a full formed human. And what if you could upload your consciousness to that new body? And that's a big theme of cyberpunk novels in general. So I liked this way more. Like Neuromancer, everyone hypes about this book. I didn't like it that much. I mean, I read through it. It's a hard book to read, for me it was. And I went ahead and read the sequel, Count Zero. The books are just not for me, but they were written in like the 80s and 90s, and like that character goes through like cyberspace and does all this interesting things, and like that's kind of cool. But we've got, it's just the whole genre has progressed from there, and I like the ideas and themes that we're seeing develop in the past 20 years more than the past like 40 years ago in the 80s when they were making books like this. But yeah, dystopian novel, takes place in the future. Well worth the read for Altered Carbon. I don't know what else I want to say about it. It just was a well-written book. It's nice to like pick up a book and actually like enjoy what you're reading, as opposed to like trying to figure out what, like I felt that Neuromancer was, at this point I'm comparing one book to the other, but Neuromancer was kind of hard to see what our main character was going through, and that's not the case in Altered Carbon. It's first person perspective, and we get to see this guy try to figure out his own body and figure out who's good, who's bad, who's, just because you're on the law doesn't mean that you're doing the right thing. And our character isn't a good guy, he isn't a bad guy. He's just a complex character. And Kovacs, I really like him as a character. I like the way he interacts with other people. He's got he's a badass character. He's got, training, and he's very well equipped with, carrying weapons out, going out, killing people, taking names, killing the bad guys, and trying to solve the mystery of the novel. A lot of interesting characters. I kind of, towards the end of the book, I started to get a little confused with which characters that were kind of recalling them from earlier in the book. So if you kind of, I wouldn't spend like, read this book in a month. Don't like read it over like 6 months or something, because you might get lost through all the characters and things like that. Tight writing, interesting dialogue. I found that tough to like write really good dialogue, but the characters here have he does that well. Yeah, cool themes, and I think that's everything I want to say about it, but I would love to hear if anyone else has comments or other book recommendations, because I'm going to keep on reading. I got other book recommendations coming up. Every time I read, I'm just going to make a video like this, and hopefully someone finds it interesting. So that's pretty much my quick summary of Altered Carbon, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much.